this is MJ. I love tokusatsu, and right now I want to talk about Kamen Rider Zero One. We have toy catalog scans, which, if I remember what happened with, was it Shirakura? The guy who's a producer with Toei, who, works on Kamen Rider, who some fan asked him about Kamen Rider trilogy form from Zio, or whatever, Trinity from Zio. We're not supposed to know about these things, and this is like a minor faux pas for me, talking about this stuff, even though, who's it, Matt Hunt, good old Dukelon from Ranger Board is like, spreading the stuff around. I don't know if it's time to talk about the stuff or not, but I'm sure as heck not gonna, link this video to the producers or anybody at Toei, because I'm pretty sure, this is stuff we're not supposed to know about. So Zero One, I'm here to talk about my impressions of the guy. And if you're listening to this, you should be checking out the blog at mjwinners.com. Just type in either, you can spell out the words 0 and 1 in the search bar, or Kamen Rider, or you can do Kamen Rider, you can do Kamen Rider Zero One, or you just do the numbers 01, and you should find this, because I'll tag it with all those things. And if you're watching the video, great, you can see the slideshow going along as I'm talking over these images and telling you my impressions of mostly the eponymous hero Kamen Rider Zero One and his forms and gadgets and stuff, and and then I'll also be touching lightly on the other Kamen Riders who are presented here. So, without further ado, here we go. So the first thing we're looking at here is Zero One's belt. It currently has a circle in the middle of it, and it has a grasshopper on it. And it seems like he's called Rising Grasshopper in this form, or I don't know, maybe just Rise or Grasshopper. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's Hopper, not Grasshopper. Anyway, the point is, our Kamen Rider has a base form that makes him a karate bugman for once in like a while. I mean, this is the first bug-themed rider I can think of since a long time, and that makes me very pleased, because I really like the classic stuff of Kamen Rider, or like the classic look. Takeshi Hongo's really awesome. Kamen Rider Black, again, really awesome, very classic. Uses all the old, I don't know, I want to say tropes, but that's not the right word. Anyway, but yeah, he's a bugman. I mean, he's got the big antennae. He's mostly black. He's got green, armor plates on him, and a green face armor. And I think that all looks pretty good. I like the fact that he's mostly black and has all these green, the sprinklers are on, all these green, highlights, for lack of a better word. I think that's a really good way to structure the armor. I think it pops really nicely, and it's very simple, and I like how simple they're going with the base form. We also get a preview of the other riders here, as we're kind of zooming out from talking about Zero One himself. There's Wolf Guy, there's Horn Person, who's red, looks like a scorpion. I don't know what the pink rider is supposed to be. That might be Valkyrie. I hear people talking about Valkyrie, but I don't read Japanese, so I'm not sure. And then there's like an upgraded form of the wolf and Zero One, and that's pretty interesting. I don't necessarily like their upgrades. I'll have to see the suits and movement to see how I like them in the show. But he's got a bike that its armor, it's like mostly black, and then it has the green highlights like he has. So it mirrors him, which is pretty interesting. And then another thing is there's like a Curry ad with Zero One on it, and he's in kind of a weird pose where he's holding out his hand like it's going across his chest a little, and he's pointing up. I don't know if he's supposed to be making a 0 and a 1 with his hands, but seeing that close-up image, you can see he's got a silver stripe on his arm under his black armor, like there's a base suit which has a silver stripe on it, and then there's like the armor plating on top of that, which being that this is the first Kamen Rider of the Reiwa era, and Zio's kind of closing the book on the Heisei era, which, you know, had its nods to the Showa era Kamen Rider. I find it interesting that they are kind of going Showa with this in making at least Zero One. Well, he's called Zero One, like Kamen Rider Ichigo, Kamen Rider One. Feels very similar, and then he's bug themed, and then his under armor has the silver stripe on it, like Fujioka. That's the man who played him, like Takeshi Hongo's Kamen Rider armor eventually got. So I find it interesting that they're doing these nods, even though, you know, other stuff in it is aggressively modern and not in line with the old Showa sensibilities, which I can appreciate. So Zero One has his own belt, which, you know, people usually call them drivers, but apparently it's not being called a driver. It's being called something else that I don't remember. But Vulcan, the wolf guy with him, uses a gun to transform, and it seems like they have cassette tapes, like audio cassette tapes is what they look like, that they load into their belt or gun, and I think the belt is also a gun. Anyway, it looks like the belt and the gun transformation devices are designed so that as you insert the cassette in, you can see part of the featured image. There's like a window or something where you can see part of the cassette tape. And I'm wondering if the Zero One is based on the fact that all of them have on one side a big black circle, and then next to that they have an image of the creature that they're utilizing, you know, the power of in their cassette. We get to see an up-close shot of the scorpion person's belt as well, and their cassette seems to say like stinger or stinging scorpion on it, and well, looks like the same thing. They read the power of the tape, or whatever it's going to be called, the cassette, by inserting it into the belt. And then we have looks like two different versions of upgraded riders. One's got a gorilla power and one has a hornet power, and I don't really like the way those look. They both have their guns on the front, like a belt buckle, so I don't know. I think it looks weird. I'm uncomfortable with how it looks. It just looks very strange. And then we have various forms. We've got a hawk form, a shark form, maybe another bird. No, it's a tiger and a bear. It kind of seems like the theme is an element or some sort of power plus an animal that is associated with that or not, depending on how much they want to stretch it. So that's kind of funny, but I don't really like the way, I think all the ones here, hawk, shark, tiger, and bear, are all Zero Ones, and I don't really like the way they look on him. So what I do like, though, is that he's got these, or they have these like briefcase type things that have handles on them, and they fold up into squares, and then they can be kind of popped, and the shape of them can be shifted, kind of like Decade's book thing, the ride booker that he had, and it can be turned into different weapons. There's a gun, a sword, and like a bow and arrow, or a bow. It looks like Sting has the bow. I would assume Vulcan has the gun, which he's already got a gun, so I don't know why he needs another gun. And then Zero One has like a sword, and then there's like an axe or hammer, or I don't know, some sort of upgrade looking type weapon, which is interesting. And I don't know, we've got a Hercules Beetle cassette too, and he's got a huge, you know, all the riders have like accessory holders on their belts, going back a long time. Like Oz had the metal holder, and Wizard had like the ring holder and stuff, and his look cooler, but we see that they have that cassette holder thing, and I don't like the way that one looks so much. It seems like it would be very kludgy, and it would very much get in the way, and I don't know, not function great. Like it would take up, like you'd go all the way down the guy's femur or whatever, like the thigh. And then we have a close-up image on a phone of, it looks like the Vulcan suit in action, and it's like blue on one side and basically white on the other side. And I don't know, I think that's interesting. I think the details of it look neat. I can see the gun driver better on it, and it looks slightly better in live action than it does in just the, I suppose I should say the rendered image. Anyway, I'm always going to wait to see these things in action before I pass judgment on them, so these are just my first initial thoughts. I'll give the show a try and see what it's like. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Zero One's look? What about the other writers with him? Do you like the cassettes and briefcases, or attachés? And do you like the animal theme I guess, does it gel with you? And what are your hopes and fears for this first Kamen Rider of the Reiwa era? Let me know, please. Put it in the comments and whatnot. MJMunoz.com is home for all my work. Podcasts and reviews of anime, tokusatsu, Star Wars, and more. Plus my original writings. If you didn't enjoy this, critique me. If you did, leave me a comment. If you really like this, consider tipping me at coffee.com/MJMunoz. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Until next time, be well.